Ready to unlock your inner creative sprinter? We're diving deep into design sprints today, and our trusty guide is the Sprint Handbook. Don't worry, no energy drinks needed for this deep dive.
Definitely not. This handbook is a goldmine of insights, way more than your average how-to guide.
So for those just tuning in, what's the elevator pitch for design sprints?
Imagine this, cramming months of brainstorming, meetings, and what-ifs into just 4 days. That's a design sprint, a pressure cooker for innovation, where you get to test ideas with users fast.
4 days. That's it. Honestly, even I feel calmer already.
Right. And this book really hones in on that 4-day structure. Time is money. Everyone's feeling the crunch. It's like they knew exactly what we needed.
Let's break down those 4 days then. What's actually happening during a sprint?
Day one is all about laying the groundwork. You get the team together, define the challenge you're tackling, and make sure everyone's clear on the goals. This handbook, big on prep work, they actually say that a well-prepped sprint makes it way more likely stakeholders will buy in.
Makes sense. If everyone's on the same page from the start, things are going to go smoother down the line. It's not just about the sprint itself, it's about setting yourself up for success afterwards.
Exactly. It's about getting everyone on board and excited to dive in. Then day two, things get really interesting. This is where you start mapping and sketching solutions.
So we're talking sticky notes, whiteboards, the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely. You're taking those initial ideas and making them tangible. The handbook even walks you through these things called lightning demos, where the team shares inspiring solutions from different fields to get those creative juices flowing.
I like that, like a rapid-fire round of innovation inspiration. And even if you think, I can't draw, the handbook has you covered with this thing called the 4-step sketch.
Yeah, that part really clicked with me. One step is literally words. Just start by labeling stuff. Then basic shapes. It's not about being an artist. It's about getting those ideas out there so everyone can contribute.
So important, especially when you're working with a team. Not everyone thinks visually, so having those different ways to jump in can be a game changer.
And just when you're getting comfortable, it's decision time. Day three is all about building a prototype, a tangible version of your solution.
So is that a fully functional product at this point, or is it more like rough around the edges?
That's the cool part. It depends. It could be as simple as a few sketches or as complex as a clickable mock-up, all depending on what you're testing and what resources you have.
It's about getting something tangible in front of users ASAP to get that real-world feedback, right?
Hey, you got it. And speaking of testing, that's day four. This is where your prototype meets real users and you gather feedback. But it's not just a free-for-all. The handbook's got all this practical advice on how to set up a testing environment where people feel comfortable giving honest feedback.
Okay, I gotta ask, what kind of practical advice are we talking here? I'm always curious about this part.
Well, they talk about making participants feel at ease and clearly explaining what the test is about. Even little things like having some snacks and drinks can make a big difference.
It's like you're creating that space where people feel safe to really tell you what's working and what's not.
Exactly. And it's not just about what they say, it's also about watching how they use your prototype. The handbook, it really stresses observing body language, like are they hesitating, looking frustrated? Those are telltale signs.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes people might not want to criticize directly, but their expressions speak volumes.
Totally. They actually recommend having someone specifically to take notes during these testing sessions. You want to catch everything, the words, the body language, all those little details that tell you what the user is really experiencing.
Like being a detective, piecing together clues. So you've got all this feedback. What's next?
That's where the magic happens, the analysis phase. This is where the team gets together, dives into the data, looks for patterns, and pulls out those golden nuggets of insight.
I love how the handbook calls it turning observations into opportunities.
Right. Such a good way to think about it. You're not dwelling on the negative. You're looking for ways to improve, to iterate, to make your solution even better.
So it's about taking those aha moments and turning them into action. Okay, so let's say you've gone through the whole sprint process, tested your prototype, analyzed everything. Then what?
You don't want all those lessons learned to just disappear.
Right.
Right. That's where reflection and reporting come in. And this handbook has some really interesting ideas about how to make that part count.
Do tell. What are they suggesting?
It's not just about summarizing what went down. It's about telling the story of your sprint. They encourage you to get creative with reports. Use visuals, diagrams, even videos. Think of it like creating a case study that captures the essence of the experience.
I like that. It's like a highlight reel of your sprint journey, showing those key takeaways and those light bulb moments.
Exactly. And the handbook even gives you a step-by-step guide for putting together a really strong case study.
Yeah.
And, it's not just for sharing with others, it's also helpful for the team to reflect and see where they can grow next time.
Because even the most successful sprint can teach you something new. It's all about continuous improvement.
Absolutely. One thing that really stood out to me in this section is that they talk about celebrating successes, even the small ones, recognizing everyone's hard work and the progress you made as a team.
Especially when you're working on such a tight timeline, it's important to take a moment to celebrate those wins.
Right. It's all about keeping the energy up and making sure everyone feels valued.
Okay, we can't talk about the future of innovation without mentioning the elephant in the room, or should I say, the VR headset and the AI algorithm in the room. The handbook hints at how these technologies could completely change the sprint game.
It's like a sneak peek into the future of design. Imagine actually stepping inside your prototype using VR, or having AI analyze user data and tell you how people might behave.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? Testing a design without actually building it or getting feedback from people across the globe all at the same time, it's pretty amazing.
It is. And the book even talks about using AI to make products that are more accessible, simulating different abilities and perspectives. So we can design solutions that really work for everyone.
Now that's what I'm talking about, using tech for good. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities.
Definitely. And while we're on the topic of pushing boundaries, this handbook also gets into some cool variations on the traditional sprint. Like, did you know you can do them remotely or even hybrid?
No way. Tell me more.
Yeah, they have a whole section on it. And for those super tight deadlines, they even have single-day sprints.
So there's a sprint for every situation. Love it.
Right. It's all about finding what works for your team and your project. And hey, if you're thinking about becoming a sprint facilitator, guess what? This book has you covered.
Seriously.
Seriously. It's got a whole section on starting your own sprint facilitation business. They cover everything. Gaining experience, building a portfolio, finding clients, the works.
Wow, they really did think of everything.
They did. If you're passionate about design thinking and you're ready to make it happen, this book is a great place to start.
I love that. As we wrap up this deep dive, the biggest takeaway for me is just how accessible this whole sprint methodology is. It's not just for the tech giants, it's something anyone can use to tackle challenges and get those creative juices flowing.
Totally agree. This handbook really drives that point home. Sprints are for everyone. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Exactly. So if you're ready for a more creative, efficient, and user-centered way of working, the Sprint Handbook is a great place to start. It's full of useful tips, real-world examples, and inspiring ideas to help you face your next challenge with confidence.
Consider this your official invitation to dive headfirst into design sprints and unleash your inner innovator. Who knows what you'll create?
Happy sprinting, everyone! Until next time, keep diving deep.